Sir, I request the Honorable Chief Guest, Padma Bhushan Professor P. Balaram, Indian Biochemist and former Director, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to deliver the convocation address.
The Honorable Chancellor, Governor of Karnataka, Shri Thawarchand Gehlotji, the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. M.C. Sudhakar, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Kumbar, I'm indeed very grateful and honored to be asked to come and be with you on this 12th annual convocation. I am a scientist, and it is a difficult task for me to speak before the Governor and the Minister of Education. I wondered, what should I say? Should I speak generally, or should I speak specifically about something that I think about? So what I have done is, under pressure from the Vice Chancellor, I prepared a convocation address which is printed. Now those of you who have it can try and read it. Now if you read it, you will find that it is a fairly scientific address. It's an address in which I have wondered about the one word which I think about a lot. I have been retired now for 10 years after I relinquished the directorship of the Indian Institute of Science. And that one word is a word from the English language, evolution. Now, evolution is a word which is common in biology. It is a word which is associated with Darwin, and it is really associated with how biology evolved on Earth. But evolution is a word which can be generally used in life. Everything evolves in time. Cultures evolve, religions evolve, politics evolve, individuals evolve. We ourselves evolve during our lifetimes. So I want the students who graduate today, and this is really intended for them, they might ask themselves the question, what have they learned in the university? What is it that they will now learn in the years ahead? They are undoubtedly going to evolve. I was in the very same position as those of you who got your degrees 58 years ago. At that time, the world was a completely different place. None of the technologies that exist today and with which we are familiar existed at that time. There was no television, there were no computers, there was no email, there was no internet, there was no Google, there was no social media, and there was no cell phone. The world has transformed incredibly during the last half a century. And this half a century of accomplishment is really because of science and the technology that derives from science. The entire 19th and 20th centuries have been a time of unremitting scientific progress. And it is the progress in science which has given us all the technologies that we use today, whether it is technologies in the hospitals or technologies of communication. All of these have come over the last 50 years or so. Think about everything that has happened over the last 50 years, and you will find that science has been behind everything. But yet, in our universities, if there is one subject which is neglected, it is science. Every day I see an advertisement in the paper, on the front page of the national newspapers, for all the subjects which are offered in private universities. These are the subjects for which students and parents pay money and enroll their children. Science is not among them. What we can ask then is, what are we doing? Today, without any foundation in the subjects, we now believe that the latest advances in artificial intelligence, in data science, will solve all our problems. This will not happen with the kind of foundation that we have. 50 years ago, our universities had a certain stature, a certain academic ambience, all of that is lost. When I first came to Karnataka, our state of Karnataka, the universities at Bangalore and Mysore, were very good universities. The universities in Delhi, in Madras, in Kolkata, all of them, the cities have changed their names. We have Mumbai, we have Chennai, we have Kolkata, we have Bengaluru. The cities have changed their names, but the universities have also changed their character. They are a shadow of what they were 50 years ago. We have to ask ourselves the question, what has happened in the last 50 years? For what has happened in the last 50 years, between 1975 and 2025, we cannot blame the British, we cannot blame the Mughals, we cannot blame those who came before the Mughals. We cannot blame anyone except ourselves. And it is in this period that I have spent much of my professional career watching the decline of our institutions. It saddens me today to come to university after university and find that they have a depleted faculty. There are large numbers of students, but there are no faculty to teach them. There are departments with 2 members of the faculty in them, and they will be teaching 80 students. Is this possible? Yet, we have a very large number of people who are teaching, but who do not have permanent positions. They do not have permanent positions on the faculty because the governments do not have money to pay them. This is not a situation in Karnataka alone. It is a situation across the country. It is a situation magnified in state institutions, but still present even in central institutions. The sphere of higher education has been in crisis for the last decade or more. But this crisis has not been addressed by governments of all persuasions. It may be that there is a problem with finances, but if the country's economy is doing as well as sometimes projected, then money must be found to support higher educational institutions. The very same industries which have grown, they have grown with benefits provided by government of tax, yet they contribute relatively little to support of our public educational systems. It is the public educational system which is accessible to the poorest of the students amongst us, and it is the public education system which we must guard and improve. I am saying this today because I am now an old man, and when I stand here and I see the Minister of Education, the Governor, people who are capable of influencing the direction of higher education, maybe Karnataka should set an example to the rest of India to see how higher education in India can improve. It is not sufficient to set up an institution in every district, a university in every district, a university in every individual discipline. You should not have universities only for music or Sanskrit. You need universities for all the subjects which are there. A university must be a place of intellectual ferment. In the absence of intellectual ferment, in the absence of an academic ambience, very little progress can be achieved. It is not enough to claim progress all the time. It is necessary to do something about it. We have discussed fruitlessly, in my opinion, the national education policy for the last few years. We don't need policy, we need implementation, we need action. There have been many policies before, and many of the things that policies seek to implement are worth implementing. The future is with you. You are the people who will have to think about these. The older generation has failed. It has failed to protect the interests of universities over the past so many years. You must do this. What is it that you need in the future in order to survive in a career? I will end only by reminding you of one thing. In any professional career, failure is much more common than success. And you must overcome the fear of failure. Success will come eventually. But how do you overcome this fear of failure? You must be resilient and you must use your imagination. So there are these two qualities which will stand you in good stead in the future: resilience and imagination. I wish you all the very best in the years ahead, and I hope all of you will do this country proud. Thank you very much.
Now I humbly request the Hon.